education update on independent television. And of course, if you're familiar with the program, you know it is the time that we keep you abreast with what is happening in the education sector. And I am your regular host, Zachary Gabriel. And most countries of the world today, you know, have been able to embrace, especially the countries that we call developed nations of the world, have been able to embrace technical and vocational education. And we can see how this practical aspect of learning and education has impacted positively in those countries. You know, most of the people that have visited there, they will tell you about less emphasis on certificates, but more emphasis on what you can do and what you can produce, you know, which is what vocational and technical education always brings to the fore. You know, beyond the certificate aspect, you know, the practical aspect and skills acquisition in a particular career path, you know, of a learner, and we'll see what that can do to a developing nation like ours. So in this program today, we shall be looking at technical education and national development. And if there's any time in the education sector when we have to discuss the topic of national development in education, I can tell you it's now, when there's much cry there of so much lack of social infrastructure, you know, in the country, and this is what technical and vocational education can bring to the table. I'm not alone here. I'm with a regular guest, someone that will be looking into this topic together. My guest is here with me, and is Adefolarin Olamilekan is a political economist. You're welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me today.
All right, what comes to your mind each time we talk about technical and vocational training?
I think basically what it means is that we're looking at simple and complex engineering issues that comes around that will affect our development positively, especially in terms of the skills, in terms of weather work, in terms of a bricklayer work, in terms of carpentry work, in terms of electronics repairs. These are the things that come to mind when you mean vocational or technical education. And these are the things that bring or bat complex engineering. When I mean complex engineering, like building of cars, airplane, military hardware, and other things that you can discover that they are more complex in making. It is from this technical education that people get to innovate and develop ideas about it. Although you start with simple technical work like carpentry work, mechanic work, tailoring, and the rest of them, but gradually the innovation behind all this one becomes so big and becomes so complex that we can now begin to build like cars, airplane, and other hardware for military and the rest.
Okay, with what you have observed, you know, in our educational curriculum, you know, do you think we have been able to, as a country, lay more emphasis on the technical education, seeing that it's an aspect that we so much, you know, that we're in need of?
Although the problem with our technical education started late 70s to early 80s, when emphasis was placed on university education, and that university education emphasis was placed on, you know, management, social courses than science education courses. Although government tried as much as possible to create that technical education, even science secondary school, so that people with good knowledge of mathematics, physics, chemistry can graduate and go and read medicine, engineering, and the rest of them. Yeah. But we also discovered that at the point in time, people who are getting more attention, we are not engineers, we are not people who read sciences, core sciences courses, but people who read courses that are maybe social science, commerce, banking, and finance, get more attention in politics, in appointment, and the rest of them. So it dragged the art of parents, even dragged the art of students to now look for more courses that they know that they can also showcase themselves in the society. That's why we begin to have problems. Although we cannot rule out the impact of global economy and global politics in terms of where African education should rely on. Just like what happened in the colonial area, whereby colonial education only give opportunity for the Africans to become clerk, maid servant, typists, and the rest of them. And that's what translates to the present issue that we now have problem with our technical education of today.
All right, you notice most of the students, you know, in technical and vocational training are usually students who didn't do well at primary level, you know, and it's more like an option, you know, for them, you know, instead of going to the normal colleges, you know, they will be sent to technical, and that has given technical education some kind of bad image.
And it's
so
very wrong.
Yes. So students, you tell them they are going to technical college,
they get angry.
They get angry.
It's
Why
true.
would you say I'm going to, you know, because like for the people who could not do well, you know, in school, should that be the right
and it's very wrong, because from my own finding, people who go to technical education are people who can work with their hands.
Yes.
Who can use their hand to turn things around. And you see in developed countries, they value technical education than even the social or philosophical education that most of us go into, social science and the rest of them. Although both of them are put at par. But we know that the people who go to technical education are the people that are now doing innovative things that are now changing the world. Mark Zuckerberg of this world that you see, as a result of technical knowledge of computer, is what brought Facebook that we are using. The same thing with Google, the same thing with Twitter, the same thing because of the technical knowledge of how computer can work faster and work for the benefit of humanity. That's why they are able to bring up all this innovation idea that you see. The fintech that you are seeing that people are using ICT to transfer money from here and there, it's a result of technical knowledge. But in our own climb, we seem to relegate that knowledge to just tools or using of tools to get things done. That's why I say that in our own right climb, we talk about technical education, talk about carpentry, talk about tailoring, talk about bricklayer, but they are more than that, and they have gone far beyond that. And if you look at the contribution of this particular sector, it is greater in terms of development, but we have left it fallow, and that's why I see that the development of Nigeria is dragging at this point in time.
All right, and another issue is the fact that some of these students who are not from well-to-do homes, you know, when they are done with their training, they need something like a starter pack. You know, someone who maybe is trained in one aspect of carpentry, let's say for instance, you know, will need a shop and will need some basic tools. He or she may not be able to afford, you know, after leaving any vocational training college. You know, is government not supposed to come to the aid of such people?
And to let us correct this impression, they are not supposed to be left to just graduate and go.
Yes.
You know, after that technical, the reason for technical educational development in Nigeria is to serve as a manpower for our research institution. If we check the manual in the development of technical education, it's to serve a manpower for our research institution and universities. That's why we have them. Some of them are regarded as technologists because of their knowledge and skills about particular tools usage. But our own government, they left it open, that after graduation, they have to go back to their parent home and begin to sort out for themselves. But it's supposed to serve as the pool for human capital in a technical institution and technical research centers. Like now we are complaining about our refineries are not working. Do you know that our technical education vocational sector is supposed to serve provide the manpower to serve that sector? Even the petroleum chemical university that we established, this set of people supposed to graduate from that technical school and move to that place and broaden their knowledge and be able to contribute effectively to our development. But as it is today, that is not in the pipeline or in the thinking of the managers of our affairs. That's why they left them like that, and they relegate technical education to the below that we can even imagine.
All right, thank you, Olamilekan, for your contribution. If you're just joining us, we're looking at technical education and national development. And just recently, I had a conversation with the registrar, NAPTEP, Professor Ifoma. We're going to play that conversation I have with her immediately after this break.
Giving enlightenment, sensitization on the importance of technical and vocational education and training, carry out training. But we encourage, because we know the benefits, we know that technical education is the way to go now. It helps young people or whoever are the beneficiaries of it to gather practical training, education that can lead you to anywhere, that will help you to be self-reliant. These days of difficulty in getting government jobs. So we know the benefits, and so whenever we are we don't just talk about our examination, we talk about the importance of sending our children to access TVET at various levels. You know, TVET has various levels. You have the level at which we are dealing with, that is the technical colleges, and you have TVET beyond the basic. You have the polytechnics and so on. And we have TVET even below the out of school and so on. And NAPTEP is we are an examination body, we are an assessor, we assess any of these, all these levels. So that's how NAPTEP is helping. Everywhere we go, we sing that song, because I know it is very beneficial. Even upstairs, while I'm sorry that we came down late, because that's what I was making recommendations on how this aspect of education can be encouraged, and how we can encourage the young people that are in it, to excel and to get more out of it.
Assessment so far of the performance of students in business and technical education, well, how would you assess it generally? What would you say?
We conduct credible examinations. And in terms of the returns to the students, I guess that's what you're asking, in terms of the results, there have been good results. One of the indices used to assess how good result is how many credits students scored or had in exams, whether how many people scored 5 credits and above in an exam. And we have had the statistics has been up to 70s, and in anything 70% is excellent. Well, in a NAPTEP examination. So and then in terms of enrollment figures, it's been increasing. So that's also another index. Some 4 or 5 years ago, we had like 60-something thousand candidates. Last year was 80, in the 80s. This year again is an increase. So up to 85,000 candidates. So I think we are doing well. And I said there are other aspects, other levels of TVET which we're also handling, where there is even more significant progress.
Okay, what would you say are the major challenges and prospects so far?
The challenges are several, just like there are many challenges in everything, other sectors as well. But I think one of the challenges is, like I was speaking in another forum, those that come out from technical colleges need to receive special starter packs. We're training them to be self-reliant. Some will go to universities, some will go to polytechnics, but many of them will establish and be on their own, entrepreneurs. And for them to do that in a situation where, the welfare packs, parents don't have the money to start their children on these. So it becomes a waste after somebody has learned how to do tiling, somebody has learned all the construction trade, engineering trades, and the various trades, that even hospitality and so on, and he does not have fund to establish himself or herself. And you are making me speak all that I believe I'm going to speak tomorrow and so on. So that is it. If they can be encouraged, that would be very good. And you will see more, I think you will see more students going along that line, because they are sure that they will be...
I'm sure you must have given this idea to the ministry particularly. Do you think it's something that they are working towards or they will accept. You know, just like you said, and most parents that will send their pupils or their words, you know, to vocational training institutes like that, you know, are not, we don't really see the high and the mighty send their kids to vocational training schools. You know, mostly children of from average homes that we see that go to such schools. They need so much encouragement from the government. And do you think you're receiving any form of response?
I think so. The World Bank is sponsoring. I think that project is starting this year. It has many dimensions. I wouldn't know how much of this, but I know that there is a focus on technical colleges to revamp aspects of it. You know, how it is some trade areas, it's not across the board. But even if it's a few trades, let's even see more success in those aspects. So that project has started this year. So if there is more sponsorship, more training of teachers and so on, I believe that the ministry is going to look into it, and through that project and some other project, even today, the ministry was talking about private public partnership. That's also another way of encouraging students and even the institutions, the technical colleges in that sector. I believe that this year we're going to see much progress.
All right, Prof, maybe finally, you know, how much benefits this technical education will be to a country like ours?
How much, sorry?
Beneficial will it be to a country like ours, especially when you talk of industrializations and the likes of it?
That's technical and vocational education and training is a major tool, is at the center of accelerated development. I think it's a known thing already. It's just we are talking about the strategies to get there. In terms of how, we all know that many of these trades, if you are doing construction, many of these things, these professionals, we are the capital flight, like leaving Nigeria to other countries. If this is retained in the country, if these people are well trained and well empowered, and at least we will close that aspect of money leaving Nigeria. That's one aspect, and also we will get quality. We will get quality services, quality products in Nigeria, quality products. They are not doing it because of the money that is entailed to, but if you empower them, you will see more. So it's going to it's going to improve the Nigerian economy. It will improve the private sector in Nigeria. It will make it to bloom. It will make it to blossom. That's my own analysis of it. That's my thinking.
Are the schools well equipped as we have them
today? Yes and no. Some schools are equipped, but are not those facilities. Some of them are not being used. Wherewithal, the knowledge to train the students in those materials or those equipment are retiring. In fact, you are taking all these. It's a major issue. It's a major issue because the schools. There's one thing: improving the quality of technical and vocational education, especially the technical schools. There are various angles to it. One is improving the teachers, the professionals, because you can't bring someone who read English and who read history and be a teacher that cannot promote TVET in technical colleges. But those ones, plumbing and pipe fitting, construction, all those things. If you don't have the experts, then there's a problem. The teachers are sending them to where they are needed in those. So that's one aspect. So the other aspect is the one you have already said. That is equipping the schools with relevant.
All right, viewers, that was my conversation with Professor Ifomade, the Registrar of NAPTIP. And I'm afraid it is on that note that we are going to draw the curtain for this week's edition of Education Update. And I tell you, there's no gainsaying that technical education is the way to go as a nation right now. Okay, on behalf of my guest, Olamileko, I must thank you for coming to the program. And
thanks for having me too.
Sharing your thoughts with us. Okay.
Thank you.
See you next time on Education Update. Say thank you for being there.